Hello class, this is Dr. Valenzuela, and this is part 2 of the video where we're just going to finish up doing the calculations for the project. Remember that for this project, um, you'll be using the Word document. So remember that I'm just showing you the technical elements of it, but you are going to have to complete this Word document in its entirety. And remember that you don't want to submit any Excel files or any additional files. Everything must be included in this Word document. Therefore, when you look at the instructions for the project, and let me get back to the project here. So when you start completing this project, you're going to use the Word template here. And then you have to address every bullet point under each bold header in the template. So, you look at data analysis, you're addressing every bullet point in the template. You look at calculations, you're addressing this. So what I'm going to do right now in this video is I'm going to show you how to calculate the p-value. And so remember that we talked about in video 1 the null and alternative hypothesis. We're going to use one-tailed test. The one thing I am going to mention is that in the instructions, and I will pull up the instructions here. Hold on a second. I'm sorry. When we are looking at the, I'm going to make one change here from my video 1, is the null hypothesis. Remember, the mean is the mean cost per square foot of home sales. So the null hypothesis will be the mean is less than or equal to 275. And the alternative hypothesis, the mean will be bigger than 275. We'll use a right-tailed. This will be the one-tailed test. Using the test example, because you have a greater than the alternative, we're going to have a significance level of 0.05. And our next step is to calculate the p-value. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a t-test. So I'm not going to use the instructions in the here. I'm going to actually use a different way of calculating the p-value that makes a little more sense. Okay, so let's go to Excel. And remember that I chose 50 of the sample items from the 1,001 items. Okay, so and I'm looking at the cost per square foot. And then I copied over those 50 items here in this column. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to label something like a dummy column and put 2 zeros. I'm going to be using data analysis, the 2 sample assuming unequal variances. Okay. So I'm going to now scroll over to the right. So we're doing this to calculate the p-value. Okay, that's what I'm doing here. And I'm going to use the t-test 2 sample assuming unequal variances in data analysis. Okay. Now, so I'm going to calculate the p-value. So I'm going to use a t-test 2 sample assuming unequal variances in data analysis. I'm going to click on data. I'm going to click on data analysis. I'm going to go to the t-test 2 sample assuming unequal variances. Okay, I'm going to take this stuff out here. Remember, the alpha level is 0.05. Leave that there. I'm going to click on labels. Labels means I'm going to enter the headers. So variable 1, I click on there's cost per square foot. I'm going to enter the label and the data from my column of 50 data items. I'm going to, for variable 2, enter the dummy label and the range. The hypothesis mean difference is 275 from my null and alternative hypothesis, so I enter 275. The output, where I want it to place the output of the calculated p-value, is here. Hit OK. Make the column bigger so you can see. And we're using a one-tailed test. So I'm going to make that yellow. Now, when you see 2.81e negative 48, this is our calculated p-value. When you see this number, this means that you're going to take 2.8 and move the decimal 48 places to the left and put zeros in front of it. So you're going to go 1, 2, 3, and you move it, 48 spaces to the left from this decimal. So effectively, what we have here is that the calculated p-value is equal to 0. When you move that decimal 48 places to the left and put zeros in front of the 2, it's you basically have 0.0. Okay, so the calculated p-value is 0. So let's go back to our Word document. The calculated p-value is equal to 0. Okay, now we're going to be using hypothesis testing here. So hypothesis testing tells us if your calculated p-value is bigger than the significance level, then you reject, okay, the alternative hypothesis and accept the null hypothesis. If your calculated p-value is less than the significance level, then you reject the null hypothesis and accept the alternative hypothesis. And notice that our calculated p-value is 0. Okay, so our p-value of 0 is less than the 0.05 significance level. So therefore, we are going to accept the alternative hypothesis, and we're going to reject the null hypothesis. Okay? Again, we're using hypothesis testing here because our calculated p-value is 0, which is less than the significance level, and therefore we reject the null hypothesis and accept the alternative hypothesis. Now, the hypothesis that we have, remember, we're going to reject this null hypothesis and we are going to accept this hypothesis. Okay? So the hypothesis that we accept is the alternative hypothesis. Now, going back to the instructions, okay, it is accurate to say that the average cost per square foot of his home sales is $275, which is bigger than the mean average cost per square foot in the region. Okay, so again, because the alternative hypothesis was shown to be true, that the mean average cost was bigger than 275. Okay, so it is accurate. The regional salespeople can go ahead and design the advertisement as stated that his average cost home sales is 275 is going to be bigger than the regions, okay, based on our sampling and testing that we have. As I mentioned, again, using my methodology, we came up with the p-value of 0 using the t-test. Although it says it's a 2 sample, we actually did it for 1 sample and used the dummy sample for the second sample. So we actually did a t-test for 1 sample, and it did a one-tailed test. This is much easier. It makes more sense to do it this way that I'm doing. Okay. Make sure that you copy this output here into the template so I can see how you calculated your p-value. Okay. So in this section here, calculations, you need to show me how you calculated the p-value by copying this part here into the Word document. Remember that it's really important to address every bullet point, okay? You're going to define your population, you're going to define the parameter, you're going to write the hypotheses. Okay, every bullet point needs to be addressed in the Word template. Okay, same here. Under data analysis, address every bullet point in the Word document template. Again, with the calculations, you're going to copy and show me how you calculated your p-value. You're going to describe, like I did, the hypothesis testing. You're going to actually write this part here into your template, Word template, to show me your logic and how you set it up. And also, you will need to include your null and alternative hypothesis as well, so you can describe your analysis for that section. Okay, and then you're addressing the test decision, which is a hypothesis testing, then your conclusion. Remember, in the conclusion, you're writing at least 1 paragraph. Okay, and again, everything needs to be in the Word template. Do not attach any Excel files, anything else. Put everything in the Word template so that I can read it and grade it appropriately. Okay, so have a great week 5, and I look forward to working with you all. And this is Dr. Valenzuela. Thank you.